Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. This is Steven. We're going on about 3 years with our Airstream, and on every trip we've had this 7-inch reverse screen mounted with a suction cup to the windshield and this big bulky 12-volt cable. It gets in the way and it scratches up the dash, and half the time it falls down. So today we're going to be solving that problem with the dash accessory mount coming up right now. So one thing about this wireless monitor is if you take this bracket off that comes standard, I added those red connectors, it does have a standard amps bolt pattern for mounting it somewhere. So in the Tundra, what we're going to be doing is, I did a bit of research, and we're going to be installing the Gamiviti dashboard accessory. This takes place of the factory piece and provides some mounting points for accessories. This is a standard Amazon USB-A, USB-C charger. This is a piece I custom printed that uses the Anderson connectors, and that's why basically on my 12 volt here I cut it in half, replaced it, so I just have this small piece that goes from here to here with the Anderson connector, and it will plug in here. And then if I'm ever in a pinch and I need to plug this into 12 volt, I just put another connector on the other side that goes to the charger. So you can still reuse the same cable, just cut it, Anderson connector. As you know, I put some of those in the Airstream as well. And then I made this mount for the Gamiviti dash accessory. Now, you can get Anderson connectors that mount to like a standard 1-inch 12 volt outlet, and there are, I think ARB makes some, and I think actually Gamiviti makes some that mount to this plate. I just wanted something a little lower profile for when I'm not towing and using this. I've started on the back wiring already. Each one of these obviously 12 volt, and then I'm going to be using these Wago connectors just in case, like if that 12 volt were to fail, it's easy to swap out. And then for the truck, coming in here, one reason why I chose the Gamiviti is on the Tundra specifically, there are a lot of options that replace this piece. I happen to like this piece. I'll throw my hat or my phone up there, so I went with the Gamiviti, which replaces this piece and allows you to keep this. The other advantage is you're not drilling holes in your dash, so this will be 100% returnable back to stock. It will replace this piece, which already has holes for the speaker that's here and the light sensor right there. And my hope is once I get that off, that I can pop this panel off here, this AC panel. Maybe I can run some wiring behind the dash once I have upper access and lower. I'm hoping I can sneak it through behind that. And my plan is to tap into this 12 volt right there. And we'll still have use of that 12 volt. I just plan to tap into the wiring there. So rather than having that big bulky screen and on the suction cup and the wire coming down here, scratching things up and getting in the way, we're just gonna have a nice clean installation. That's the plan. And what you might notice, as my camera moves around crazy, is I still have, there we go, I still have the protective coating on here because I've had the suction cup mount so many times that once we get where we're going, I'll come back out and it will have fallen down. And so I've kind of kept this on there to protect it because it basically falls down all the time from, you know, if it's left in there overnight and temperature differences, this suction cup just, you know, it's good for temporary use, but we're coming up with a permanent solution. So stoked on this. We'll get started on the install. Okay, so I was just able to pry that up using an interior pry tool, just something real simple. Couldn't do it one-handed, but just get in here around the sides. This is held in with clips, just those few clips, and then this is the light sensor for the auto headlights. Once you get in there, in my case, a little bit of sand from playing out on the beach, and the center channel speaker. We'll get that taken out of there, but we already have, like I mentioned, access here through the dash. We'll get that speaker out, unplug that, and move forward. All right, so here's a quick mock-up of how the panel fits right in there. Overall, fits pretty good. I've got my 12 volt outlets here, and like I said, my USB, USB-C here, and this mounts using the mounts that the front speaker uses, so it uses factory mounts, which is good. The one thing I'm not huge a fan on is, if I can get this out of here, is the way this works is you put the bolt through. That'll focus. Let's see. You put the bolt through, and even if it doesn't focus, and then you place one nut on the bolt and then another bolt or nut on there to lock it at a certain height. For me, in my case, it's about 18 millimeters from the bottom of the plate to where that nut needs to be in order to clamp down the speaker right there. The thing I don't like about that is it doesn't actually clamp the plate down. It uses, you know, there's this gap here. So I'm going to come up with something a little different. This could work. Not for most people, it'd probably be totally fine. And the ambient light sensor just presses in here. It fits okay. You really have to press it in there, and I'd be afraid it was going to fall out. So I'm going to come up with something, probably 3D print, that handles this issue and this issue to improve the installation. But you know, this is a solid, thick piece of metal. It's quite nice. So I'm still liking this solution because I very much enjoy having this pocket here, and I don't want to drill into the dash. So we're gonna make this will work as is. We're just gonna make it a little bit better. Okay, we're back. So I took this out of the truck just so you can, maybe I can get this to focus and give you a better look. The idea is you've put the bolts through the top. You basically, through trial and error, find what you need is from a gap from here to here that will bolt down the speaker from here, and then also bolt this down tight. In my case, it's about 18 millimeters from the bottom of here to here, so you could easily measure that out or convert it to inches. I live in the 3D printing world, so my world is metric. So the idea is you would use the existing hardware or the existing dash holes. This mounts essentially like this with that gap, and then this pulls everything tight like that. Quick solution, 3D print, is just to print some 18 millimeter spacers and get rid of those nuts, and then that allows you to actually clamp everything down tightly. These fit right in there, and then you're good. You could also just buy, you know, a handful of washers and come up with something close to about 18 millimeter. There we go. That would gap that out, and obviously, with the nice thing about washers is, you know, if you needed more or less, you could just space it out to exactly what you needed. So that would also work. But while I was doing this, what I ended up coming up with, oh, and here's your lighting sensor. This is designed to just stick in here. It's supposed to stick snug, and I guess I could shove it down in there, but mine, it's kind of loose. I don't trust that it'll stay. I would hot glue this thing or something to get it to stay in there. So while I made those spacers, I was like, well, I didn't want to come up with something for this, and I was going to make a bracket that kind of clamped it in from these two. And then I got to looking at the stock piece, and I was like, okay, here's where the sensor goes, here's where the speaker goes, and it has this edge. As you can see, it's like a raised edge that clamps the speaker in to the top, so you're not, I don't know if it makes a huge difference from an audio standpoint if the speaker is gapped off the plate. It seems like it, I mean, it probably doesn't make a huge difference, but it might if it's, you know, that's not clamped down. Like here, it's snug, right? And that raised edge makes it so that fits flush up to the piece. So since I was already making these spacers, I needed to come up with a solution for here. Let's see if that focuses. I came up with this little doodad, and what this is it solves the height problem with the speaker by raising it actually up to fit this. So the speaker will now come all the way up to here rather than being back. This piece will snap into that little, it's basically the same size as the factory there. So this piece snaps in and it holds it from the bottom. And this, combined with the nut that I made, provides your 18, in my case, 18 millimeters of space. So I'll mock this up. I can't do it with one hand because I can't get these out of here. And then I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so let's see if this works any better. This is the part I came up with. It goes around the speaker. This ring goes around the outside of the speaker. And it also holds in, let's see if that'll focus, it holds in the daylight sensor there. So that fits in, secures this. You can see, you'll see my blue tape to hold the bolts in for right now, but You can see the headlight sensor sitting right there. Switching hands here. And then the speaker, this raises the speaker up to right where it's flush to this. So we just pop the speaker on those mounts like that. It fits within that ring. It's not up against it, it's fitting within it, up against the plate. And then we'll use these, and these take up the extra space to give me the total of for 18 millimeters. Let's see if I switch off again here. I've got that bolt taped, so hopefully it's not going to spin on me. And these I printed so they almost thread on, but not quite. So just enough to kind of hold everything together when you're putting it on the dash, like stop the speaker from falling, but still allow you to tighten it down and spin through this part. So if you look, here's the 18 millimeter spacer. Here's everything as a total of 18 millimeters. The speaker is now moved up flush, and we have the light sensor secured. So this is how we're going to do it. Like I said, in my case, 18 millimeters is what you need. You could always just use the double nuts that came with it, or I don't know, if it was me, I'd at least run to the hardware store and grab a box of washers and to make up about 18 millimeters of space. That way everything snugs down properly. So after all this, I'll get this piece on there, and then we should be ready to bolt it in. All right, so earlier when I said I'll get to the install, I was lying. I forgot I had to take all these parts out. Took the console piece out. You don't actually need to, but it makes it a little easier to get to this bottom piece, which is the first one you take out, second one you take out, and then you take the head unit out. I wasn't able to get it behind there. There's just so much HVAC ducts and things. This secures with 4 10 mils. You can see 2 there, and then 1 on, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Those rear ones are a little challenging to get out of there. Use a magnet. It's not the end of the world if they fall, because they kind of just slide forward. But unfortunately I had to pull this out and all the wire harness and all the stuff. This is just one simple plug on the HVAC unit, so that's super easy. What I ended up doing on the 2020, there's this 12 volt here, and I guess what's handy is the connectors on the 12 volt are just basically spade connectors. That one's like a little bit skinnier, but that one's like a standard, so that's your positive, that's your negative. And so what I ended up doing was bringing it inside the truck. See if I can get this in here. This is my harness that comes in. And what I ended up doing is, this is the standard plug that would go into that 12 volt. I just used spade connectors and I plugged it in there. For the narrower one, I did have to just file off a tiny bit on the positive lead to make it narrow enough to fit that connector. And then out from there, I just put 2 spade connectors, and those will plug back into the 12 volt. So I don't lose that 12 volt, and then I get my 12 volt power from here. I'm not running a new circuit that way, and I'm not terribly too worried about overloading that. I'm just going to be running the screen and a couple things. And then that cable comes up here, and this will tie into the 12 volt and the USB. So yeah, lots of connectors for the head unit. This isn't necessarily how to take your Tundra apart and install a head unit, but you could certainly use it. Just be careful pulling these out. You just have to go easy so you're not scratching up the surfaces there. So anyway, now we will go about getting this back together. Okay, we're all back together. Managed to not break any clips in the process, so that's good. Got the screen mounted up. I tilted it to the side so you could kind of take a look at the arm set up here. This is the original power cable that I showed you earlier. I just put an Anderson connector on. I've got it plugged in there. This is a standard amps arm, 2-ball with the mount on the screen, and then over here, way over here, you can see the USB and USB-C. Might give you an overall look of how that looks, but you know, these are great because you can, I'm not gonna be able to do this with one hand obviously, but it will be much more stable and not fall down anymore, which will be super nice. So yeah, obviously you can tighten it down and do different angles and all sorts of different things, but much better than the suction cup, and no cords hanging down anymore. And this 12 volt still works. Tested that, so all in all, pretty excited to have this go. Maybe this summer I'll peel that film off the screen, since it won't be falling down and getting scratched up or broken. So hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, turns out these Voyager screens can run off a 12 volt USB-C, but it has to be USB-C power delivery. So you got to watch which USB-C plugs you work, even though I decided it was just easier since I'm running 12 volt up here to run an Anderson connector. But anyhow, any questions on this or on the install overall, please let me know. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.